Matt writes in. He says this. Now, we've talked about this multiple times on this show before, but it's been a couple years, so it's time to bring it back up. Matt says, I saw on an Instagram story, so you know it's a great source, how about the Masoretic text contains differences with the versions found in Qumran, as well as pretty significant differences. Esther was given as an example with the Septuagint. Okay, let's pause real quick. I'm not sure which Esther he's talking about. So Esther was not found at Qumran, which is one of the reasons that some scholars believe that it was not canonical in the first century. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that Qumran may not have thought it was canonical, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the Judaisms of the first century didn't find it to be canonical. It just means that they didn't find it at Qumran. That's number one. Number two, the differences between the Septuagint and the Masoretic text. There are differences. There's no doubt about it. We'll talk about those in a few seconds. Let's keep going with Matt's question. Given that the Masoretic text was done hundreds of years later than the Septuagint, which one is more correct? I am seriously considering starting to learn Hebrew next fall with TorahResource. After seeing this divinely inspired Instagram post, I'm wondering what the two of your thoughts on this subject are and whether or not it'd be better to learn Greek and read both the Septuagint and the Apostolic writings, or better understand and appreciate the Tanakh, my main objective through the learning of Hebrew. I'm going to pass this off to Rob first while I look for something. Ready? Go.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. So what I'm hearing, the basic question, thanks for the question, by the way. What I'm understanding the question to be, just to reiterate, is I'm interested in studying Bible languages, and the main ones obviously are Hebrew and Greek.
Right.
And I'm also interested in the text history. That is how we got the Bibles that we have. And I'm interested in understanding how do we evaluate various manuscripts, and how do we, like, in other words, if I want the quickest route, what's the straight shot between me and the Word of God, and what language do I need to learn first for that route? And sounds like he's evaluating, well, normally if I could affirm that the Masoretic text was the truest, most faithfully copied tradition of the, quote, Old Testament of the Tanakh, then Hebrew would be like a go-to language. But if in fact the Masoretic text is somehow defective in a way that the Septuagint, the ancient Greek translation, is more true to the original Hebrew, whatever that imagined original Hebrew, Vorlage in German, then why not just skip Hebrew, go straight to Greek, and then immerse myself in Septuagint and New Testament, and maybe take Greek, or maybe take Hebrew down the line, but making Greek the priority. That's what I'm hearing I think I took more words to describe how I understood his question. So if that's it, then I would say, well, it's a good question to ask because it comes from a position of someone who's like, look, I'm willing to put in some hard hours. I want to do it efficiently. I only have so much time on this planet. How do I get into the nitty gritty of the Word of God? You got to do both languages, right? You got to do Hebrew and Greek to some degree, because you need to learn to inhabit those other worlds. You need to learn how to inhabit the world where you can read, even if it's a little bit, like if you can learn Psalm 1 or read from Genesis or something in Hebrew and understand it in Hebrew, you need to learn what that feels like. And the same thing, learn a little bit of Greek, enough to where you can read a couple sentences from Paul, from the Gospel of John, this kind of thing, and go, okay, I got a sense of, I can understand it on its own terms in what we call our grammatical, historical kind of meaning. Because the skills that we have to learn to be able to inhabit those worlds come with, there's resources out there that you're going to be able to avail yourself of. The Halot, right? Hebrew Aramaic Lexicon of the Old Testament, or the BDAG, which is the Oxford University's standard Greek lexicon for ancient Christianity. So things like this, that you'll know how to use those tools much more optimally. And you're never going to look at a Strong's Concordance again, because you've kind of like, you've gone to the major leagues. But hey, there's a plug of our executive
producer. Yes.
But so ultimately, it takes a lot of work, and you got to do more than one language. And Aramaic inevitably is going to be part of that, even if it's just tangential to learning your Hebrew.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.